We've all been there, right? Something goes wrong at work. An error, an accident, a big missed deadline. And suddenly, all the pressure is on to figure out what happened so it never ever happens again. But what if our first instinct to find out who screwed up is the very thing that's keeping us from actually learning anything?
Seriously, think about it. The moment you hear about an incident, what's that immediate gut-level question that just pops into your head? For almost all of us, it's some version of, who did this, or whose fault was that? It feels totally natural, but today we're going to dig into why that might be the absolute worst question you could ask. You see, that instinctive hunt for a culprit, well, it actually has a name. It's a formal tool, one that's become the default for managers and investigators everywhere. And a lot of the time, they don't even know they're using it. It's called the substitution test. So, what is this thing? Well, the substitution test is designed to do pretty much one thing: figure out if a person is to blame for a bad outcome. It's supposed to be a simple way to separate a so-called bad apple from a bigger systemic issue. And this right here, this is the core of it. The test asks you to do a little mental experiment. You imagine taking the person who made the mistake and swapping them out with a peer. Someone with the same exact training and qualifications. And if you think that other person would have done something different, well, boom, the original person is officially at fault. Seems pretty logical, doesn't it? Well, here's the big twist. That seemingly rational tool, it's actually deeply flawed. It's a trap. And it doesn't just lead to unfair blame, which is bad enough, but it completely slams the door on any chance to understand why the failure really happened in the first place. See, the substitution test keeps us stuck over here on the left, laser focused on asking who. It puts all our energy into the individual. The real magic happens when we shift our focus over to the right and start asking what. What was the situation surrounding the person at that exact moment? So this old tool fails for a few huge reasons. First off, it's just poisoned by hindsight. I mean, when you already know the outcome was bad, it's almost impossible to see why the action seemed reasonable at the time. Second, it completely ignores the messy, real-world context, all the pressures and conflicting goals that person was juggling. Third, once you found your culprit, the investigation just stops, dead in its tracks. Which means finally you've spotlighted one person while leaving all the deeper systemic problems hiding in the shadows. All right, so how do we fix this? How do we build a better way? We can actually turn to modern safety science, specifically some really cool ideas from fields like safety AI and human and organizational performance, or what people just call HOP. These fields are all about a radical shift in mindset, moving away from judging and toward genuine understanding. And this right here is the absolute core of the new approach. You have to stop searching for a scapegoat. Instead, your new mission as a leader, as an investigator, as a teammate is to uncover the logic. It's to figure out why, in that specific moment, with the information they had, the choice they made seemed like the right one. You have to start from this fundamental belief. People aren't problems that need to be fixed. They are problem solvers. This quote is a powerful reminder that every single day, workers are making tiny adjustments and judgment calls to get the job done in a really complex, imperfect world. They are not trying to fail. Okay, so if we're going to throw out that old, busted tool, what do we replace it with? Well, it's not just one thing. It's a whole new toolkit full of powerful questions designed to unlock a much, much deeper level of understanding. So here's a quick look at the new tools we've got. We're going to dive into a couple of these, but they all share the same goal: shifting our focus away from the person and onto the system they're in. We've got the local rationality check to see the world from their point of view, a work-as-done analysis to see the gap between the rules and reality. All of these are designed to get us to a better place. This is the first and honestly probably the most fundamental replacement for that old substitution test. We are literally throwing out that judgmental old question and replacing it with one that's born out of pure curiosity. We call this the local rationality check. Now, local rationality sounds a bit academic, I know, but all it really means is that the person's actions were rational from their perspective, inside the situation, with the goals, the pressures, and the limited information they had in that moment. Our job isn't to judge that action from the outside, it's to understand their perspective. All right, here's the next big shift in thinking. So often we rush to check if a rule was broken, right? Did they follow the procedure? But a much more powerful question is to ask about the nature of the work itself. What does a totally normal day actually look like when people are doing this task? When you ask that question, you start to uncover what we call the reality gap.
Over on the left, you've got work as imagined. That's the clean, perfect, step-by-step procedure that's probably sitting in a binder on a shelf somewhere. And on the right, you've got work as done, the messy, adaptive, real-world version that requires little tweaks and workarounds just to get through the day. A lot of the time, an error is just that gap between the two suddenly becoming visible. You know, the safety expert Todd Conklin has this perfect 3-word summary for all of this. Context drives behavior. It's so simple but so powerful. If you really want to understand why somebody did something, stop staring at the person. Look around them. Look at the pressures, the tools, the rules, the goals. The context is what shapes the action.
Okay, so let's bring all this home. Let's turn this into a practical guide, a cheat sheet you can start using like tomorrow. This is all about replacing our old, tired questions with new, much smarter ones. This table basically shows you the upgrade path. Instead of the substitution test, we use a local rationality check. We stop asking, would someone else do this, and start asking, why did this make sense to you? Instead of a simple compliance check, we do a gap analysis. We go from, did you follow the rule, to how is this work actually done every day? And instead of a culpability test, we do a condition assessment, changing the question from, was this a bad choice, to what conditions were present. See the pattern? So look, if you take only one thing away from our whole conversation today, let it be this. The single most powerful thing you can do to improve safety, to improve performance, is to change your question. Stop hunting for the person who failed and start searching for the parts of the system, the tools, the processes, the pressures that failed them. And that's really the challenge, isn't it? The next time you're faced with an error, you've got a choice. Are you going to reach for that old, easy tool of blame? Or are you going to have the discipline and the curiosity to put it down and start searching for the deeper story hiding in the context? The choice you make is what determines whether you just get an answer or you actually get a chance to learn.